Hello friends, my dear colleagues, and I'm Dr. Snehal Shah. I'm a head and neck cancer surgeon. I'm a robotic head and neck surgeon, and I am also a tobacco cessation specialist. I am attached to Apollo Spectra Hospital, and where I conduct my OPDs and I perform my surgeries. My specialty is more for head and neck cancers. Head and neck cancers, predominantly oral cancers, which includes cheek cancer, the tongue cancer. It also includes the base of tongue cancer. It also involves, I would say, the cancers of the throat cancer, that is laryngeal cancers, cancers of the voice box, cancers of the food pipe, that is hypopharyngeal cancers. Now, these are the cancers which I deal with, and the most common reason for this is tobacco. Tobacco without alcohol. If you add alcohol with tobacco, the chance of attracting a malignancy or acquiring a malignancy is sevenfold higher. It has got a synergistic effect. So tobacco cessation is must, alcohol cessation is must, because those are going to act synergistically. Now, being a tobacco cessation specialist, I am going to speak on tobacco today. But more so, as our topic today is ENDS, which is Boon or a Bane, I would like to dwell more on that. Now, why is that an important topic? The reason is, if you see the Indian population, the population which is in the middle age is quite large. You will also see a sudden boom in the population between the age group of 16 to 25. Now, with increased marketing of tobacco manufacturers, at the same time, the bans which government has put, it has increased the taxation on the smoking, non-smoking tobacco. People have started resorting to electronic nicotine devices, that is ENDS. Now, electronic nicotine devices, as we all know, is nothing but the e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are the something which are like a pen shape, a cigar shape, where you load a canister which is filled with the nicotine. But it is not just filled with the nicotine, it also has an add-on, some additive flavors. It could be a fruit flavor, it could be a menthol flavor, or it could be a tobacco flavor. But apart from that, it also has some heavy metal chemicals like lead, cadmium, and so forth. So if you see the fumes which are coming out of these e-cigarettes, these fumes are going to be harmful to the person who is going to smoke it, because not only it will have nicotine induced chemicals which are carcinogens, that is nitrosamines, but it will also have other things like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, heavy metals like lead, cadmium, nickel, which will all lead to cancer. Although the amount of this carcinogens in this particular vapor is less. Now, what is the most common terminology that you call for ENDS? We call this as a vaping, and we call this as a juuling. Now, what is vaping? Vaping is something where the vapor comes out. These vapors are nothing but the vapors which are produced by usage of e-cigarettes. Now, as we know, cigarettes or BD that we use, we burn the cigarettes, or we burn the BD, and this cigarettes or BD which are burnt will lead to burning, a combustion of tobacco. And this combustion of tobacco will lead to the various carcinogens. About 65 to 70 are WHO graded carcinogens, which have not only led to cancer, but even other problems like there is increased chance of stroke, paralysis, heart attack. There is increased chance of lung problems, chronic lung problems like COPD. There is also increased chance of bladder problems, colon cancers, not just cancers, but even other ailments are what you're going to attract if you keep on smoking cigarettes. So this is going to happen because of the burnt cigarette. So the marketing companies, instead of using this, they have come up with another idea. Why burn? Just heat the cigarettes, heat the nicotine. This heated forms are nothing but what we call as e-cigarettes, and the vapor which is formed is going to be harmful to the people who are going to inhale it. Not only for the person who is using, which is a first-hand smoke, but also a second-hand smoke and a third-hand smoke. So what is second-hand smoke? Second-hand smoke is if I'm going to smoke, if I'm going to use e-cigarettes, this is going to release a vapor in the air. This vapor which is released in the air is going to be inhaled by my relatives, someone who are dear ones to me. Once they inhale those, they are equally exposed to the cancer. At the same time, what is third hand smoke? These vapors, when they settle down on the various materials, objects like say pen, say table, And if there is a kid who's going to play around with that, he's going to be at a higher chance of getting exposed to this third hand smoke, and because of that he is going to attract, or is going to get a chronic otitis media, lung problems, ear problems is what he's going to have. It is going to affect not only his development, physical, but also mental development. Such is a bad effect of tobacco. This tobacco, if it is smoked or it is chewed by a mother who's already carrying a kid who's conceiving, there is a high chance of intrauterine, that is within the womb of the mother, there will be a chance of growth retardation of a baby, or even the fetal death, that is a death of the baby within the womb itself, or there will be chance of stillbirths or other anomalies like limb anomalies, leg anomalies, feet anomalies. So this is all going to be the bad effect. So tobacco has to be seized. Tobacco, I would like to say something. Tobacco is a knife which cuts the life. So please do not take tobacco. Now coming back to ENDS, we just deterred away from our talk on ENDS. Now let us come back to ENDS. So the vaping, the vapor which is released is going to be harmful. Now what happened is, because patients or because of people got addicted to vaping, and the vaping e-cigarette which was available was in the form of cylinder with a canister fitted in, it was not sufficient for the people who were vaping, and hence this became the first generation of vape, and it went from first generation to second generation, third generation, and fourth generation. So what are these transitions which happened in the vaping? This which was use and throw now became refillable. Now they became refillable and again throw. So you started getting a canister. You started getting with you not only the canister but even the other cans of various shapes and sizes, and which were again loaded. So they were reusable, they were refillable, and this led to more and more addiction. So when you talk about a Boon or a Bane, why Boon? Why people think it could be a Boon? What we understood is, and what US FDA, since it banned vaping, initially the thought process was that those who are smoking, if you want them to cease tobacco habit, you have to give a pharmacotherapy. This pharmacotherapy is in the form of nicotine patches, nicotine chewing gums. So why to give nicotine chewing gums and nicotine patches? Let us go ahead and give a nicotine e-cigarettes. This nicotine e-cigarettes would become a good alternative for a patient who has been a tobacco addict to start inhaling the ENDS, and would help eventually fight the tobacco habit. So this was a thought process. But what they found out is that patients could not leave tobacco. Patients who were wanting to leave tobacco, when they got converted into e-cigarettes, they could not stop the addiction of e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes became the addiction, and now that it became addiction, patients were not able to leave nicotine, exposing them to all the harmful effects that we discussed in the beginning. Now, so was it a boon? No, it was not a boon. Is it a bane? Yes, it proved to be bane, because this became like a fad. People from 16 to 25 years of age started vaping. They were told about the ill effects, side effects of tobacco, but they were not told about the ill effects, side effects of vaping, e-cigarettes. And so they started vaping. It was found in the literature that those who started vaping ultimately got converted into tobacco smoking. So not only that they vaped, the addiction increased to tobacco, it went higher. The level of addiction went next level, and people started smoking the cigarettes. So it was very difficult for them to stop the vaping, neither they could stop tobacco, causing a dual exposure of tobacco or nicotine to the patient and the harmful side effects. So it proved to be bane, and hence US FDA also recommended that this has to be banned. This has to be banned totally from all the institutions, from whole of the country, because this was targeting the age group which was the most productive, which could work, which could actually increase the revenue or would fight for the country, that generation was getting affected, and hence US FDA banned the e-cigarettes. Now what is juuling? Juuling is nothing but a pot or a pod which is filled with the nicotine, and it's like shisha. Do you know shisha? Shisha is when you inhale the smoke of the tobacco. It is like a shisha. It is shaped like a shisha, but a small form of shisha which is filled with the nicotine. But not only nicotine, it is filled with other chemicals as well. Do you know one thing? What are the harmful more side effects of vaping? With this pod, you can not just add a nicotine, but you can also add various addictive drugs. So this younger generation was not only exposed to nicotine, but was also exposed to other drugs, other I would say the harmful addictive substances like marijuana, caffeine, cocaine, and so forth. So vaping not only led to addiction to tobacco, to nicotine, but also it led to addiction to various other effects. The menthol which is present, the fruit flavor which is present, makes it very appealing to this generation, making them smoke more and more. And what happens? Once you take the tobacco, once you take a nicotine, nicotine goes into the brain and it stimulates the release of dopamine. This dopamine is a hormone of pleasure. Once this neurotransmitter is secreted, it is going to induce a pleasure. Now, once the pleasure is cited, the patient likes to take more and more. Did you notice what I said? I said that these are called patients. Are they patients? Yes. All the patients or all the people who are smoking tobacco or the chewing tobacco are patients. They are patients because this tobacco has made them psychologically, physiologically, biologically dependent on tobacco. Patient, he is dependent totally on tobacco. So one who is mentally dependent, this is more like a mental disorder with the feeling of pleasure at the level of brain. However, the body of the person undergoes physical stress. So even though they feel that this is for giving a relaxation, it is actually putting the body at much more stress. So that's the whole point, that people don't understand the implication, and finally over the time, say 25, 30, 40 years, when they start developing the ill effect, side effect, is when they realize that the life got wasted. Not only that, some people start getting cancers as early as 25, 30 years of age when they have started their own family. Once they have started with their own family, and if they get a cancer, the finance of the family goes haywire, the education of their kids go haywire. This makes it very, very difficult for someone to run a family with lot of financial burden added because of the treatment cost that the patient has to manage during his treatment, with no guarantee that he's going to be well. Because even if it is advanced stage cancer, these cancers don't do well over 5 years. But then if you see the natural history of the early cancers, if you pick up early, you have increased chance of survival, but morbidity is very high. These patients, the natural history, if you see, they undergo multiple cancers, multiple recurrences, multiple surgeries over 15-20 years. The face is, the mouth gets totally crippled. So I would say that these are the people who are orally crippled. Now, with oral crippling is your social esteem. So not only does it affect your finance, it will also affect the social esteem of the patient, and he will always be at the back foot. It's like a stigma that this patient got cancer because he was having habits. So it is like a social stigma on them. So lot of burden, emotional, financial, economical, lot of burden on the patient, and patient is always at loggerheads with the whole society. So this is the whole problem. So is E&D a boon or a bane? It is definitely a bane, not a boon. If that's the whole reason, it has no more a tobacco cessation aid. So what are tobacco cessation aids? For tobacco cessation, you need to approach a certified tobacco cessation specialist who would give you a behavioral counseling, a motivational interviewing is what we use. Plus we use a pharmacotherapy. Pharmacotherapy are wonderful drugs available, but I would like to stress more on behavioral counseling more than a pharmacological interventions, because the crux of the treatment is behavioral counseling and not the treatment or not the medicines that you take. Because If you change the environment, if you are motivated, you are going to win the war against tobacco. I would always say that my goal, my aim is to make a tobacco-free Bharat. That is the whole point of putting this video. There's a whole point of telling people around, please do not consume tobacco. Tobacco leads to a lot of problems which are unanticipated. Many times when I tell patients that I have to resect a tongue, they don't understand the implication. But when they undergo surgery and when they start getting the effects of it, that is, patient has difficulty in speaking, patient has difficulty in swallowing, is when they realize, what have I done? What have I done? I have taken tobacco. I have literally insulted the inner mucosa, the inner skin lining, and this has led to all cancers. Not only am I at risk of getting a cancer at one subside, that is a cheek or a palate or a tongue, but I am also at a risk of getting cancer at other sides like lungs or even the food pipe or the what we call as the esophagus. So let us fight together. Let us try and win the war against the tobacco. Let us give a tobacco-free Bharat. Let us give an opportunity to the people, to this young age, young people, the opportunity to lead India on various aspects. Now, this is what I dream of. I want you all also to dream on the similar lines. I also want you all to live tobacco on similar lines. I want you to be an ambassador for tobacco cessation. Try and propagate this to everyone, whomsoever you are getting connected to, that we want to be free of tobacco. Try and encourage. Do not nag any patient who's tobacco addict, but encourage, give social support, give moral support to this patient, that let's fight together. Let us leave tobacco. Tobacco was never a part of India. It got introduced in 16th century. This is something not which is our own. If we can fight against British to get freedom, we need to fight against tobacco also to get a freedom from tobacco. This tobacco is something which was brought not from it was not grown in India initially in 16th century. It was brought from the outsiders, the foreign invaders, who brought this tobacco inside our country, and that's how it got propagated from south of India to north of India and then to whole of India. That is exactly in brief the history of tobacco. So tobacco is something which was then grown. Do you know one thing? The fields, the farms where you grow tobacco, it is difficult to grow other plants, other vegetables there. It makes the land barren. Not only does it affect the body, it affects the environment. It leads to deforestation. It leads to barren lands. So this tobacco, wherever you grow, is going to be an issue, not only for us, but even when the birds, when the animals, they come in contact with tobacco, they will have. So even when your pets, if you've got a pet, you love your dog, you love your cat, you have got the pet, and if you're smoking, even they are exposed and they are at a high risk of getting tobacco induced problems. So why to have this as a bargain for your pleasure? Let us fight it out. Let us not consider this as a bargain. Let us go ahead. Let us stop tobacco. Let us keep everyone healthy around ourselves. Now coming to my last part, that is a pharmacotherapy, or I would like to say more first behavioral counseling, which I would like to come just now on it. So coming back to something which is very dear to my heart, is the fight against tobacco. I was speaking on the pharmacotherapy and the behavioral counseling. I would like as many people to come forward for counseling. Those are tobacco addicts. They would not come alone. I would prefer them to come with someone whom I call as a quit buddies. Quit buddies are the spouse, the partner, the friend, or anyone whom the person resorts to during his low periods. That is, during when he is depressed, when he is at his rock bottom, when he is at his vulnerable least possible. He would go and he would speak to someone. Let that quit buddy come and let him play an important role in encouraging. It could also be a tobacco addict who is motivated to stop tobacco. Let both of them come together. Let them counsel each other. Let them try and help each other in giving up for the smoke. Not just tobacco, but even the nicotine in any form. That is the whole point. Now, we spoke about the smoking, we spoke about the vaping. I would also like to say that not only the chewed tobacco is harmful, equally harmful as compared to smoke. Chewed tobacco in the form of various pan masalas, we have betel quid, betel nuts, betel leaf with the with tobacco quid that we make, or gutka that we say. Not only that, I would like to say, let's take out the tobacco out of equation and let us put only the betel nut, the supari, pan supari. That pan supari with katha, slake lime, is equally harmful. It will lead to submucous fibrosis, that is difficulty in opening the jaw. At the same time, it is also going to cause cancer by its own. So not only tobacco is harmful, not only nicotine is harmful, but even the betel nut, the areca nut that we call, supari, what we call, is equally harmful. So let us give away with the issues. Let us give away with not only tobacco, but also betel nut, betel quid, but pan supari as we call. Although the regimens are different, I got a call yesterday from one of my patients that, look, I have stopped tobacco, but I'm not able to leave my supari. How do I go about? I've called him today. We are going to discuss this out. We are going to do away with this habit. And what I do is I stop it in 14 days. Tobacco total cessation in 14 days with the pharmacotherapy continued over a period of time of 3 months with the tapering doses. So let us fight together. Let us come on the common stage, common platform to fight against tobacco. If you don't take tobacco, you are going to defeat the whole purpose of marketing companies who are going to market for the e-cigarettes, e-nicotines, tobacco in any form. Let us get tobacco-free Bharat, Vande Mataram. Before I end my talk, I would also like to encourage people to put queries, to visit the website, to be part of Apollo Spectra's vision to stop tobacco. Please do come forward. Please approach us at Apollo Spectra Hospital at Tardeo, and let us fight together for our fight against tobacco. Thank you.